This is lesson 5.5, and it's about occasional misconceptions. And by misconceptions, I mean misunderstandings that we have about how the search engine works or about how search works more broadly. I don't mean overt hoaxes like we see in this picture of the Loch Ness Monster. That's not what I mean. What I'm more interested in this lesson is understanding how ranking works, how the search ecology works, and what you understand about that. So, for instance, one of the things you should know is that oftentimes you'll see logos, as we see here. You see the Google logo here as part of a custom search bar. What this is doing, what it's actually doing, is the equivalent of the site colon operator we saw earlier. So if you go to a website, foo.com, and you see a custom search engine with the Google logo, it's important to know that Google actually doesn't have a connection with that company. So it has nothing to say about the quality or credibility of foo.com. It is only providing the custom search service for that site. Okay? It's important to note. Google is indexing this site. It has crawled the site. It is exactly the same as if you do site colon foo.com. But it's not saying this is a credible site. Okay? Likewise, the advertising you may see on a particular website that's actually provided by Google, again, doesn't have anything to say about the content of that site itself. So what this means is that the way Google Ads work on another website is that they say to Google, here's a bunch of content on this page. What's the best ad to put on this page? And so Google serves that ad. But Google is not warranting or is not saying anything about the content or credibility of that particular site. It's an important distinction, again, to make. It's a common misconception, which is why we're talking about it now. Another thing to remember, we've said this before, but it bears repeating. The rank order, that is, the order in which the results appear on the search results page, is not the same as the authoritativeness of that result. So just because the result is number one, what that means, pay attention, what it means is that Google has judged this one link to be the most relevant to your query. So it takes the query you've typed, looks at all the web pages in the world and says this is the most relevant, and the second one is the second most relevant, the third one is the third most relevant. That's not the same as saying they're true or they're even a good deal. What they're saying is, with respect to the relevance, these results appear 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay? It's an important distinction to remember. Now, another thing to know is that sometimes you'll get this kind of thing like we see here. This looks like a video from CNN, but in fact, it's a great video. It's a funny video of Pope Francis apparently doing a magic trick. But do not be deceived by the logo in the lower right. The problem with logos is that anybody can do a screen grab, or they can just copy the image and put it into their website. And this is an important thing to remember. Just because you see the logo, you don't know necessarily that this web page or this website is actually from that logo provider. So in particular, news providers like CNN or ABC or CBS or whatever often will have their logos, shall we say, misappropriated. So you'll see them occasionally warranting, giving false credibility to a web page, to a piece of content. So when you're looking at a page like this, make sure it's really coming from where you think it's coming from. In this case, it's not from CNN. It's a very funny video. It's edited by someone else. You can go figure it out, but it's not who you think it is. So now, what I would like you to do is to look at the problem for this lesson and see if what you know now doesn't put you in a better position to assess the value, straighten out the misconception you might have had about the page you're seeing.